Greetings, dear people of God at Trinity and beloved friends beyond. How grateful I am, beyond grateful, ecstatic really, to say those words again. But let me explain my extended silence. My successful treatment for gastroesophageal cancer resulted in a recovery filled with side effects of unknown origin, predominantly a chronic, debilitating nausea. What was that like? Think of a constant car sickness or morning sickness without ever actually vomiting. But the worst effect, by far, in that painful prison of a place was my loss of joy, of even my sense of hope. I was alive, thanks be to God, but I got to the point where I couldn't even hear the song in my heart that I had forgotten. The one that fills me with joy and hope despite evidence to the contrary, always has. Did anything penetrate this place, this prison? Well, remember that quote attributed to C.S. Lewis? A friend is someone who sings back to you the song in your heart when you have forgotten it. I could hear it. Fleetingly, yes, but I could hear it when my friends and family, many of you, and especially my husband Michael, sang that song, reminded me of my song, through prayer and patient understanding, through check-in calls and voicemail, messages and photos and texts and visits and open invitations that I often had to cancel last minute. Generous, open invitations like Jude's, for me to preside on Sunday mornings whenever I was able to raise my head from the pillow. Because of you, I could carry on. I could endure, despite the fact that the nausea kept drowning out that song. Do you realize we all have that song in our hearts? It's a love song. It's the song of the soul which ignites the divine spark living in each one of us. How do we remember it when we forget it? Through community, through family and friends, yes. But also, speaking of songs, do you know what also helped me find that lost song, remember it, and to escape the prison? Music, including, of course, the music sung by our angelic choir, led by our beloved Valentino, and rung by our bell choir. And then there was the music of Holly Near, feminist folk singer and friend. Holly and Brian Green sing O Holy Night, arranged with slightly different words. Their harmonies are spine-tingling. I played that song over and over and over again through the dark nights of my soul. Sometimes I only listened, other times I sang along, but it became my lament. And for fleeting moments, I was able to endure, to remember my song. In her prologue to her book, Saved by a Poem, Kim Rosen writes, "For many years, poetry was not a big part of my life, but healing came when I discovered that taking a poem that I loved deeply into my life and speaking it aloud caused a profound integration of every aspect of me, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual. I felt a wholeness that I had never before experienced. I felt like I was flying. I was speaking of the truth, and the truth was setting me free. For the first time in my life, I had found the voice of my soul." What if we simply replace "saved by a poem" with "saved by a song"? And then that describes what happened to me through music. The message, the thank you gift I want to offer to you is this. I believe it can happen to you. Perhaps it already has. Songs can ignite that spark, remind you of the song you have forgotten. It has happened to my 96-year-old mother. It's not unusual these days for my mother Sally to be confused about where she is, though she remains in her own home in Santa Barbara, or by what's happening. When we children visit her, we are always met with delight and warmth, her ingrained instinct for hospitality. "Please sit down," she says. "Would you like something to eat? Do sit down. I'm so glad you're here. I'm not sure what we have to eat," over and over and over. But we can still also cause distress and confusion by interrupting the familiar routine through which she feels safe. On a recent whirlwind visit with her after a painfully long time of separation because of my illness, she expressed both her welcome and her confusion. But when she expressed her confusion, there was more distress and even fear in her voice and manner. Of course, on some level, I was used to that experience, that distress, because of my pastoral care experience. But it's a bit different when it happens to your own mother. "My mummy," I said, "you're home. This is your own house. And I'm Franny, one of your twin daughters, and I am visiting you." "I don't know where I am. I want to go home. What's happening?" she kept repeating. My approach was clearly not working, so without even thinking about it, I tried something else. My battered, beloved Book of Common Prayer with a hymnal that I had brought with me caught my eye. The rather frayed red ribbon marked the page with "Jesus Christ is risen today." So I started to sing it. Almost immediately, she joined in, beating the table in time, and, oh, by the way, belting out the chorus, "Ha ha 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 hallelujah." Of course, we couldn't stay seated for long. I inherited my love of dancing from my mother, so we rose together hand in hand and began to dance. No more confusion, no more furrowed brow or frightened eyes. In their place, focus and familiarity and joy. The spirit, the divine spark, had been ignited and was lighting her up, lifting her up, drawing us both into a divine duet, the divine dance. Remember this, dear people of God, dearly beloved. In the face of these turbulent, often terrible times, in the face of loneliness and loss, in the dark nights of your soul, when life drowns out that song, turn to a song, listen to it, come out of the shower and sing it aloud. That divine spark which lives in each of us can be ignited and lift us up and draw us, even you, into the dance, the divine dance. Choose your own song, or perhaps you might choose this one. It's one of my favorites. It's by Chris Williamson. And it's called Song of the Soul. Let this be my thank you gift to you.
Open mine eyes that I may see glimpses of truth thou hast for me. Open mine eyes, illumine me, Spirit divine.
Love of my life, I am crying. I am not dying. I am dancing. Dancing along in the madness. There is no sadness, only a song of the soul. And we sing this song. Why don't you sing along? And we can sing for a long, long time. Why don't you sing this song? Why don't you sing? And we can sing for a long, long time. Thanks be to God.